Okay, guys, this video is going to be about the single action armies. I still got these sniffles, I'm sorry. But over the years, over the decades, uh, I have no collection to write home about, but I have acquired quite a few single action revolvers over my time. And most of them are big bore, because that's what I do. I'm a 45 Colt, 44 Magnum kind of a guy. The biggest thing is with these single action armies, they're kind of like dogs. They deserve a friend. So most of them are pairs, unless they're like that stainless one, kind of a specialty gun. That's one that I kind of hunt with a little bit. The barrel is a little bit short, I admit, but it's in 480 Ruger, and I really don't need two 480 Rugers. But we're going to get into this. Stand by. Okay, guys, single action armies. We got quite a few of them out here, and we're going to try to get through this pretty quick. Once again, this is kind of one of those family type videos to let them know just exactly what they have in their family and what's not supposed to leave their family. First up is going to be Alec Baldwin. Pay attention to this. These are going to be my prized single action armies. They're the only Colts that I have. Not the only Colts that I've had, but the only Colts that I have. These right here, both they're 5.5 inch, third generation single action armies. Man, I believe Chuck Bebout may have done the grips on them. I cannot remember, but they are true Stag grips, which you can't get anymore. Just these grips are worth a hell of a lot more than most pistols you're going to come across. So the grips never leave these pistols. Like I said, both of them have been cleared. You kind of watched me do that. Hopefully you did too, Alec Baldwin, you freaking idiot. But the actions on these guns were both performed. They both have action jobs. I shot these competitively in cowboy action shooting for quite some time. There's a story about how I got them also. The action jobs on these things were done by Bob Munden. You'll probably have to look that up online to know who Bob Munden was and to appreciate just whose hands were on these guns. At half cock, that's the cylinder spinning. I'm not left-handed, sorry. There. They are smooth as butter. You cannot tell the difference between the two pistols. They are just absolute glass. The triggers are exactly the same weight. I don't know what they are, but they're not very heavy. These guns are just absolutely stellar. I had one Colt single action army. When I was shooting competition, I had one Colt single action army in holster. I had an Italian copy in the other holster. Every single time I drew my pistols, I knew when I was shooting the Colt and I knew when I was shooting the Italian spaghetti pistol. So I decided that I was going to, this is about 1995, that I was going to buy a second single action army. And and these things, I am not kidding you one bit, they probably have 20,000 rounds in each of these guns. If you'll notice, there is no drag marks on the cylinders. These things, which the drag mark would be a line that comes across from the bolt, the bolt notch to bolt notch. Or there'd be like a small little, right there where the lead in is to the bolt notch, you'd see a little bit of bluing wore off where the bolt is coming in just a little bit early to get the bolt notch. They're dead nuts. They have been dead nuts. They will always be dead nuts. Bob Munden was no joke. And so anyway, I was on my hunt for my second single action army, and I can tell you exactly which one it was. It's this one. And went down to Williams Gun Shop, Waverly, Ohio. They had a These guns at the time were around $1,000 to $1,200, something like that. They were custom shop only at that time through Colt. They actually had, and I love the looks of a 4 5/8 or 3/4, depending on if you're Ruger or Colt. But I love the feel and the balance of a 5.5 inch. Just me. And also it makes them legal to deer hunt in Ohio. And I don't remember which one, but one of these guns has killed a deer in Ohio with a big old square bullet, man. And so anyway, I'm down in Williams Gun Shop in Waverly, and they actually had, this is the bullet that I cast for these things to hunt with. It's a, I think it's somewhere around a 400 or 270 some grain bullet, but all it is just, it's just a big square lead wire in 452 diameter, and it hits like a telephone pole, even at just running like 800 feet a second. Can't beat it. It's all about the bullet. Anyway, I walk into Williams, and they actually had a 5.5 sitting there, pretty easy please, and it was used. And I don't remember the price he had on it. It was fair. And so I'm talking to the old man, Wendell. Beautiful man. I hope he's gone now. And man, I hope he got his treasure, because that dude was a treasure. And so anyway, I'm looking at this pistol. And, you know, we're talking about price, and because I want the second one. And I notice, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but on the, oh yeah, you can see it. The front sight had this big zib on it right there. It's a big dent, actually, what it is. And it's sitting in there, it's got this big dent, and he had no idea. And he's like, holy cow. I said, what the heck happened to that thing? He said, we sold that to a guy, and they ended up checking with him later. I get the story later. So the whole story is the guy bought this pistol and he took it home. His wife, and he shows it to his wife because he had always wanted a Colt. Honey, I finally got a Colt pistol. How much was it, sweetie? $1,200. And she threw it back at him. Take the gun back. Well, when she threw it back at him, apparently it hit something and it put a big zib on that front sight. And Wendell and them, they never noticed, because they just they knew the guy. He'd had the gun for like 2 hours. So they gave it to him back, gave him his full refund, but then they had to sell it as, they felt obligated to sell it as used because it had left the store and come back. Well, they knocked it down a little bit, but not much. Well, then when I saw that, they're like, oh man. So they sold it to me at cost, which was, I think it was at cost, but they sold it to me for $800. I bought this gun for $850 out the door. And, which was a lot of money still back then, but you're not going to catch them for that. But, so, anyway, gosh, we're already 8 minutes into this video, and I haven't even talked about these guns. To go on, we'll just run through the line here, because I got another set of pistols that have their own little story. We'll do a separate video on that. And that's these right here. They are consecutive serial number 1872 open tops, and basically they were a transitional pistol from the cap and ball to the cartridge 1873, which these are 1873 single action armies Colts, and these are 1872s. And like I said, they're a transition from cap and ball to cartridge. Since they are a transition pistol, they do not have a top strap, which would, you know, come across here. They look like a cap and ball pistol, but they are a cartridge pistol. And I just cleared them again. You saw that. But we open the gate. We pull it back to half cock, which it is, and we can look. I don't really want to point at me, but we can look that I'm backwards. That it has a bored through cylinder, and these right here are chambered in 45 Smith & Wesson Schofield, which is kind of like a 45 Colt short. The 45 Smith & Wesson Schofield was also popular in the Smith & Wesson revolvers. They had a little bit shorter cylinder, and because they couldn't copy, because of the Colt copyrights and things like that. And you can shoot a 45. It's kind of like 38 Special and 357 Magnum. You can shoot a 45 Smith & Wesson Schofield and a 45 Colt. Cannot shoot a 45 Colt and 45 Smith & Wesson Schofield. These right here, they're kind of neat. They have the rear sight mounted on the end of the barrel, where the cap and ball guns used to have a little notch in the back of the hammer that you'd use as a rear sight. I need to send these guns out. Actually, I need to just send both of them off to a gunsmith, have action jobs done on them. They're stone stock, but one of them has a a headspace problem where it's just a little bit wore and doesn't like to go bang every single time. This one here, I screwed up the bluing on the ejector rod, and we will get into that when I don't mean to point the gun at you, but we'll get into that when I tell it, because these little guns here have their own little story. They have been from Ohio to California to Virginia to Maine, and now back to Ohio again. Now, I was the original purchaser, and I am the last and final purchaser of these guns. And good story. Another matching set are Julie's pistols. And Julie, back in the day, also used to shoot cowboy action with me. It's funny, you have to have an alias. You can't go by your real name. And she always shot 38 Special in her 357 Magnum revolvers. So she had her alias of Special Lady. I don't know if you can see that or not, but her guns are actually, it's probably backwards too, but her alias is engraved by hand in the back strap of both of her pistols. It says Special Lady. These are both Ruger Vaquero originals, first editions, old models. They are built on a 44 Magnum frame. You'll never hurt them. The new Vaqueros are built on a smaller frame that are much lighter. These things weigh a ton because they're basically 44 Magnum size, but they have little 357 holes in them as far as the bore and the chambers and things like that. It looks cool, but I still get a little bit nervous about pointing these things at you, even though you're not there. It's just a phone. But yeah, these are Julie's. They're stone stock. I might throw a set of springs in them or something. But fantastic pistols. And she used to shoot the crap out of them. And those are a couple pistols those are Mom's, and they got her name on them, so they're not going anywhere. And like I said, if you notice, I'll buy pairs and pairs and pairs. This one here is a little bit different. It's a 480 Ruger, which, and this is why you check them, because this one's hot. And the reason it's hot is because I have a tendency to carry it, and which is probably unusual by most people's standards. But I can guarantee you that a 412 grain bullet at 1,200 feet a second will change people's attitudes. And so this is a 480 Ruger, which is basically a 470 line ball short, if that means anything to you. It's a 4 5/8 inch barrel, I believe. To be legal to deer hunt in Ohio, it has to be 5 inch. Actually, I have not killed any deer with this thing, and actually I hope to. I realize it's not a legal gun, but oh well. But this is actually the cartridge that it shoots. It doesn't look that impressive by itself on camera. Big, wide, flat nose is what I shoot out of everything that I can, or a semi-wad cutter. Like I said, this one here, other than being Dad's gun and it being just a freaking handful, it has, it's not a real, doesn't have family ties, I guess you could say. I get a drink because I'm drying out bad. Next pistol, I can guarantee you, is loaded, because it's the one that I carry when I carry a single action. It's the one I carry the most. Yep, 45 Colt, same as most. Also, this one here has a second cylinder in it to shoot 45 ACP. Right now, it has 45 the 45 ACP cylinder in it. For carrying, I kind of prefer it. The 45 ACP is just a better defensive round than the 45 Colt. It's kind of like a 45 Colt, sort of plus P. 45 Colt, usually they hold to 14,000 copper units of pressure, PSI. I'm not sure which, but it's a 14,000 pressure, PSI round. I load, these things are sort of plus P rated, especially as far as 45 ACP is considered. So I can shoot a 45 ACP plus P round in it, which I'm going to find better bullets, defensive bullets, and they're going to be loaded to about 23,000 cup or psi. I'm not sure how I don't remember how they measure it, and so it's a little bit more potent round, and that's a much better bullet configuration for self-defense. And also this one here has the 45 ACP cylinder is unfluted, and I have a special fetish for unfluted cylinders, whether it be single action Army or double action. I love the looks of an unfluted cylinder. Sexy beast. This one here, it's just a stone stalker because I carry it quite a bit. And once again, this one's 4 5/8. I just love the look of a 4 5/8. And well, actually, this is a Colt style, so I guess it's 4 3/4. And I love the looks of it. And it comes out of the holster a little bit better, I guess. But this is a spaghetti pistol. I believe it's a Cimarron. I'm not even sure anymore. But yeah, it's got the Cimarron rider on it on the grips. But fantastic little pistol. And load fast, or was it? Since it's single action, it'll shoot fast enough to get you in trouble, but it won't reload fast enough to get you out. So it's not really an optimal recommendation for a defensive pistol. But when I'm out in the woods and chainsawing or just dumbing around or whatever, you'll usually find me with a single action Army on my hip. The other two, which is a semi-matching pair, I don't know that the kids would be interested, because and that's another thing, having a pair of each and I also have a pair of kids, so that works out. But the next set, these are my hunting pistols primarily. I don't really do anything else with them. Both are Ruger Super Blackhawks. Both are 44 Magnum, and both are 7.5 inch. It's the only time I really use a 7.5 inch pistol, just to help with a little bit with the sight radius, if that is a thing. It does help with velocity, and that is a thing. My loads with hunting pistols are always, in 44 Magnum, they're always a 250 grain or 255 grain semi. Well, actually, it's 44 Magnum, so it'd be a 240 grain semi-wad cutter. Because I'll tell you what, in my experiences, nothing hunts better than a semi-wad cutter. One of them is a 7.5 inch Super Blackhawk Bisley. The other is a 7.5 inch Super Blackhawk kind of standard. Both of them, as you see, are unfluted cylinders, which I think are sexy. And this one here, it's got the Dragoon style trigger guard, which has the squared back, as it should. However, those do get a little bit painful on the middle knuckle, so I have a set of rubber grips on this thing to help with that, and also to help with the recoil. The standard Super Blackhawk plow handle grip is brutal when it comes to recoil and when you're doing stout loads. So it's ugly as can be, but I go with the rubber grip because it's just much more comfortable and easier to shoot. With the Bisley, this Bisley grip frame handles recoil completely differently. And with wood grips, it's just fine. It's pleasant to shoot. You'll notice that on the 480 Ruger, it's also a Bisley style grip frame, because it handles the recoil so much better. And even with this nasty 480 Ruger, I'm able to shoot it without any big old ugly rubber grips on it. The next one is part of a set. It is a Ruger single 6 22 long rifle. I think this is a 6.5 inch barrel, if I remember. Its little buddy is up at Mom and Dad's. It's a 4 5/8 inch barrel. This one has just a single cylinder 22 long rifle. The other has both cylinders, fluted and unfluted, 22 long rifle, 22 mag. This one here, it's just my 22 pistol. I don't know how much value I put on it or anything. Now the other one that Dad has, that one doesn't leave the family. That's a pistol that I've been shooting since I was about 12 years old. Dad still shoots it today. That's why it's up there. Anything happens to Dad, that old pistol's coming home, let me tell you. And oh my gosh, I can't even tell you the adventures as a kid and the rounds that I put through that pistol. And it is an absolute cream puff. And that pistol is why I bought this pistol, because I had to have one. I've had this one for, I don't know, 20 years probably. But it's still, I haven't put as many rounds through that thing as I put through that one Dad's. Another one, which is, there's no pair, it's a single, and this one belongs to Trey. And I need to get some things done on it. It has a little bit of a story. It was in a gun shop. There was a shop beside the gun shop that caught on fire, and so the fire department came into the gun shop and foamed everything. This gun was sitting on top of the counter in a presentation case with the case open. It is a, I don't even know what the manufacturer of this gun is. I don't have my peepers with me, but it's not a Colt or nothing like that. It is a well-made pistol. I don't sneeze on these Italian guns, because I'll tell you what, a lot of them are made better than the daggone Colts at some time. It's a Cattleman 357 Magnum, and it is made by actually, you can tell how much I've looked at this thing. The only stamping on this thing is LR Distributors, New York, New York. There are some proof marks on it that don't mean anything to me. Okay, there we go. We got Italy. It's an Italian pistol, which is what I assumed. But anyway, this dude here, it's brass framed. It's kind of a silvered, there's brass grip frame, kind of a silver frame, and then a blued barrel. And it is fully engraved. And then it has a little spot on the back that's open between engravings, so you can put your name if you want to. The only problem was, look how pretty that dude is. You got the brass, the silver, the bluing, and then the fire department, bless their heart, they foamed this thing and just absolutely ate all the finish off of it. That's the easiest way to tell. As long as it's got a broken spring in it also, I got to send it to a gunsmith, and I'm going to have some things done to it. But you can see, there's what the cylinder looks like when it's blued. And there's what it looks like where the bluing's ate off of it. Yeah, bless their heart. There, it's kind of jacked up a little bit, but you see all the engraving on the hammer too. It's a pretty pistol. Now this is Trey's, has been Trey's, bought it for Trey, and we'll get her cleaned up for him one day. It's just been sitting in a safe for, oh my gosh, at least 20 years. But there's that, and that's a little bit of story. And then the last two that I have, another matching set. These things have to go to the gunsmith and be slicked up. But these they're Italian, they're Cimarron. I think they're called SAS Pros. There's two of them here. Both of them, they're 45 Colt also. Imagine that. And the reason I bought these was hoping to get back into cowboy action shooting this year if things go right for me. And but what these do is they're a half cock. They got a half cock function to them to where they're short stroked. So half cock is right there, and full cock, whoops, is right there. They don't come all the way back. You also notice that what's a good one to, this is a great one to compare it to. You'll notice that the hammer is swept down quite a bit more. This is a standard Colt hammer, and this one here you can tell is swept down quite a bit, so it's easier to reach with your thumb. And these have already been cleared, but you can tell a difference here. That's full cock on a standard, and that's full cock on the short stroke. So it increases, it decreases the lock time, it increases the firing rate, because you just don't have to pull it back near far to get her to fire. And once again, there's a pair of them. They're identical. And these right here, I haven't decided. We had some hospital things come up, and I haven't decided if they're going to Cody Conager or if they're going to Lassiter to have them do their magic on them. But they're going somewhere. But these are, not big family heirlooms or anything like that. They're just what I hope to shoot in competition if I can ever make it to competition. So that actually goes through all of the single action armies that I have, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I have any laying around the house that I'm unaware of. But for Brooke and Trey and for everybody else's entertainment, I guess, that's it. And if we don't get out of this alive one of these days, whether it be this year or hopefully 15, 20 years from now, when I do go under, that's the story on these things. So I'm going to shoot another video here just in a little bit, and it's going to be the story of my open tops and how I came to acquire them and how I came to reacquire them. So toodaloo, and see you at the range.